I am going to walk you through an agenda here, sort of bottom line up front, a situation report, more on what the next steps are, and then walk you through some background and steps that you can advise your customers to take as we move forward. So bottom line up front, next steps following a boil water advisory, guidance for customers during, guidance for customers after, some FAQs, and then upcoming briefings and ways to get information from us as we move forward. So bottom line up front, I understand this is a busy slide. I'm going to spend some time on it. WSSC Water lost pressure in 6 drinking water storage facilities. These are tanks and elevated storage due to a major break in a 54-inch diameter water main. That water main was located about a few feet off of the northbound exit ramp from I-495 onto Central Avenue. And it was a catastrophic failure, a huge amount of water lost, and it resulted in a loss of pressure to the system. And so a boil water advisory was issued for significant portions of southern Prince George's County. You can see a screenshot of the interactive map we have on the web for customers to check their address to see if it's within the boil water zone. That is available at www.wsscwater.com/BWA. And by the link here, we will be sharing these slides in PDF, and that link will be clickable in the PDF. So the boil water advisory was issued yesterday morning at about, I want to say about 2 a.m. And then we began to look for the break. We could not find the break for several hours. When we did finally find it at about 7 a.m., we acted quickly, shut down the pipe, and were able to begin restoring water to customers yesterday afternoon. By 6 p.m. yesterday, we had restored some pressure to customers. Fire flow was available across the area impacted. And then by this morning, we had restored all system storage, and the system is essentially full this morning and ready to be used, although folks within the zone of impact, so within that red area, do still need to boil their water until we lift that advisory. As part of lifting the advisory, we have to conduct sampling. So we conducted sampling across 50 sites yesterday. Those 50 sites are, across the distribution system to get a representative sample of the water in the system. They were planted for analysis. So basically we get those samples in, they go to our lab, they have to be put in cultures to see if there's any issues. They were planted for analysis at approximately 8 p.m. Last night, and we expect some results at approximately 4 p.m. today. The specific time of the readout on those results, the official readout, is somewhere around 4 p.m. today. We do have 2 water distribution sites. They were open yesterday from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m., and they will be in operations or planned for operations from 11 to 4 today. That's sort of weather dependent. It seems like the weather will hold out. They're calling for some rain, but the temperatures are supposed to warm up, so we think that may alleviate that. Times, the current planned locations are at 6336 Rosecroft Drive in Fort Washington and 11000 Thrift Road in Clinton. So customers that need water can go there. You can get up to 3 gallons per car, and we will have folks there from 11 to 4 today. All right, that's the big picture, the sort of bottom line. So what are the next steps? So first of all, a boil water advisory is implemented when we lose pressure and we can no longer guarantee the safety of the system, but it does not necessarily mean that there is any kind of contamination. And at this time, there's no indication of contamination. We have conducted 50 sampling sites. We normally have routine sampling that occurs all the time. This is an increased number of samples for this area. They are undergoing analysis at our laboratory in Silver Spring, and we expect testing and finalization of those results in 36 to 72 hours after the samples are planted. In this case, we may have results a little bit earlier, and we will be sure to let you all know when that occurs. Once testing confirms that the water is safe, we coordinate with our regulator, MDE, on that. We will communicate to customers through all available means that they can go back to using their water as they would normally. So that is sort of the next step, and we're trying to figure out exactly when that's going to happen. But we are hopeful that our sampling will go as planned, and we can lift that advisory relatively soon, or as quickly as possible. So, some guidance for customers during boil water advisories. On the right, you see a one-pager. We have this in both English and Spanish. We're going to make that available to everyone who joined this call after this. We'll send you slides. We'll send you the video of the briefing, as well as the this one-pager that has, you can use for social media. You can use in emails to communicate to customers exactly what they need to do. But basically, during a boil water advisory, before consuming the water or doing any activities that result in consuming the water, you should bring water to a rolling boil for 1 minute and then allow it to cool. So that's when you're drinking water. That's when you're brushing teeth, preparing baby formula, washing fruits and vegetables. If you give it to your pets, if you have an automatic ice maker, you should make sure that you're boiling the water before you do that. You do not, however, need to boil water before washing your dishes or your hands, doing your laundry, or bathing and showering, as long as you're not drinking the water while you do those things. So that is the guidance that we're giving to folks. Again, one pager here will be made available to customers for during a boil water advisory, what they should do. And then after a boil water advisory, we also have instructions. Here you see on the right the one pager in Spanish. But after the boil water advisory, we recommend that you basically flush your pipes. So you begin with the sink or faucet on the lowest floor. You slowly open the cold water tap on that, and you want to do it slowly because there can be this thing called an air hammer. It causes like a loud kind of banging sound as water is passed through the pipes. It's called a water hammer. If you open it slowly, you can reduce that, but you may hear that. That is not a big issue, but it can cause some folks concern when they hear it. So make sure you do that slowly to let that air out. You repeat that on each floor of the home, moving from lowest to highest, only opening the cold water faucet. Once the water runs clear, that's usually in 5 minutes or less. It may not be at all. You should be good to go. You should also flush your refrigerators, water lines, and customers and businesses that have stored water, drinks made with water, ice made since the boil water advisory should throw that stuff out, and their next 3 batches of ice from ice makers should be thrown out, and you should clean those ice makers if possible with 2 tablespoons of bleach to a gallon of water. That's going to make sure everything is absolutely as safe as possible. All this guidance, again, in one-pagers in English and Spanish, will be made available to you all following this call when we send out our follow-up email. So some FAQs. This is just repetitive. I just want to make sure people know, if you're going to drink or consume the water, you should boil it for a minute and let it cool. You can flush your toilet. You can use the water. There's no issue right now with water supply. You can continue to shower and wash your hands without boiling the water. You can wash your clothes without boiling the water, and you can do your dishes without boiling the water. So if you have questions, that's the guidance we are providing, and hopefully that is helpful as folks move forward. It's really for consumption of the water where there is a potential, I want to say, of a safety issue, and that's why we issued the boil water advisory in the first place. So how can you engage with us? Again, I just want to encourage folks to get on our customer notification system. Customers can opt in to alerts that they want. You just go on, you create an account. You can enter up to 5 different addresses for which you want alerts. So home and work and daycare and school or whatever it may be. Text and email alerts are available, and we encourage others to sign up. You can get there by going to wsscwater.com/CNS. The CNS is for Customer Notification System, but again, that's wsscwater.com/CNS. So right now we have a planned briefing for 1 p.m. today. There is a chance that we may change the time based on kind of what is happening with our sampling process and everything else. So please watch your emails for that. But right now we have it planned for 1 p.m. It will likely be just a recap of what's happened, an update on where we are, and anything else that might be relevant. And we will open it up now, I think, for Q&A. So any questions, please raise your hand in the system if you can. If you can't, you can just speak up, or you can drop it in the chat, and we will do our best to answer the questions that come in. Miss Alston.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. McDonough, for your presentation and all your support. Really been great. This is a technical question, and certainly offline it would be great if anyone can provide a response. Some of my colleagues and I are attending ASHRAE, American Society of Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning, the annual winter conference. And it's interesting that water main breaks came up, specifically with the impact of phosphorus in equipment and the need for scaling. I'm wondering if anyone might be able to provide any literature that WSSC Water might have that could benefit us in maintaining our equipment, if this is something that applies for the Washington, D.C. DMV area. Thank you so much.
Jamie, I will have to research that one. That's not one I know off the top of my head, but I will make sure we circle back with you after we get with the right people here in the building, our water quality and our industrial control folks, who I think will have a really good sense of that. So stand by, but we will circle back with you on that if that's okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Alston. GM Powell.
Thank you, David. If we could go back to your slide on next steps, I think you may have mentioned this, but I just wanted to make sure it's clear. Typically, we do have to wait 36 to 72 hours in order to lift the boil water advisory. But in this case, our production team worked with MDE, or MDE worked with us to identify more samples across the area that's impacted, to allow us to have less time that we would need to lift the boil water advisory. So should all of those samples come back without any impact, or not indicating any impact, we would then be able to lift the boil water advisory, which in what will be 18 hours. So that's a little different. And if you see us lifting the advisory around 4 o'clock after we receive those samples, that will not be typical, but that is based on working with MDE and getting guidance from them. Future issues, it may take the 36 to 72 hours. So I just wanted to provide that clarity and set that expectation.
Thank you, ma'am. I may not have been abundantly clear on that, but that is the hope, I think, is that perhaps we may be able to lift it later this afternoon. Dr.
Right.
Coleman, I believe it is.
It is.
Oh, sorry,
Thank you.
Keisha.
Thank you.
Well,
Good
I'm
morning.
just saying, because
Oh.
this is being recorded and the slides will be posted, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We may want to just put a note on this slide.
Okay. Will do.
Thanks.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Coleman, my apologies.
No problem. Good morning. And thank you so much, Ms. Powell, for that clarification, because we had a conversation in the school district about that very question. We identified yesterday a subset of our schools that were impacted by yesterday's water main break that would need bottled water. delivered sometime today if we were to be able to open schools back tomorrow. And so, given the snow and everything that's going on, we're trying to figure out how quickly we can get water to those sites in the event we're open tomorrow. So that clarification that we may lift the boil water advisory by 4 p.m. Is really important for us in Prince George's County Public Schools. So we're just looking to get that update as soon as possible.
Right. Thank you, sir, for the mentioning that. And definitely the number of school closures necessary is a factor in making that determination. So we appreciate you
Yes,
working with
ma'am.
us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and if I may, I don't know exactly when the readout time, the official readout time on those samples is, but it is in that 4 o'clock range. So please stand by for that. When we are able to release it, we will. Brett Boyce from MDEM.
Hey, good morning, Dave. Sorry if I missed it while you were going through and I was taking notes. Can you go over the hours of operation and the locations for your water distribution sites, please?
Absolutely. We have 2 water distribution sites. They're open from, and Chuck Brown can correct me if I get this wrong, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. today. The current planned locations are 6336 Rosecroft Drive in Fort Washington and 11,000 Thrift Road in Clinton. And this will be on the slides as well that we'll send out, Brett. Thanks so much. Other questions, comments, concerns? Madam General Manager.
Yes. While we, just in case that anyone is thinking of questions, Director Davis, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you could just share what you share with me as far as the use of 311 and also resources that your team has that could help support the water distribution sites if needed, that would be great.
Good morning. Yes, so I'm Unisha Davis, Director for the Office of Community Relations for Prince George's County. And I oversee 311 and also the entire outreach unit for the county. So yesterday we did receive I like the thumbs up, we did receive over 600 calls regarding the water main break, and we directed the residents to the website and the telephone number. So that is what we had access to. So now, and I called my manager this morning. So now, and the lines are open, by the way. We opened at 6 this morning. And I told my manager that I will provide him with the talking points and all of the updates that you just mentioned. And so that way we're able to relay that information to residents that called into 311. We also have usage of our social media side on the outreach team, where we're able to post these tips for residents throughout the entire day. And so also the site locations where water can be picked up. And so, that information will be distributed to our residents in both English and Spanish. So we'll be able to help you guys with that, because we get in so many calls per day, especially on the 311 side. We do have our outreach team that will be able to be deployed to your 2 locations today to help you with water distribution. And so that's not a problem. We just need to understand your model. We'll help you roll it out and get that water out as fast as possible to residents. I do have one question though, and I'm looking at the service area. Is there a reason why only these 2 sites were chosen? Since there's still boil advisory, so you still have Oxon Hill and closer to the Suitland area. Is there a reason why the Fort Washington and Clinton were chosen only for water distribution?
Chuck Brown, can you weigh in on that?
Yeah, thank you for the call and thank you for your support
You're
and
welcome.
offering all the information through your team and then through social media. Really appreciate it. And for everybody,
Okay.
yeah, follow us on social media, putting out a lot of information in English and Spanish. Yesterday it was a resource issue, having enough resources to open those 2 sites. But if we can get more help through your team, absolutely will look at furthering expanding those distribution sites. So we'll make sure to have contact with you and through your staff and then our team and look to see where best to expand those sites later on today. Again, as David said, pending, we'll kind of take a look at the traffic and the road conditions, and then we can certainly would appreciate any help that you could provide and any guidance you could provide in additional locations beside those two that we have already located.
Thank you so much. And again, this is your plan. I just was wondering, just because of residents, they have to drive down. It just makes it better when, you can just have one that's a little closer to me, to like that Suitland area, the Oxon Hill area, just makes it kind of better, especially also for public relations too, that it just wasn't all the way down, deep down south in our county. So whatever you need us to do, we're here. And as the GM asked, we will stay back so we can understand your plan, and I can understand when you need us there. So I can deploy my team. Everyone is on standby right now. So the earlier we get out there, the better. And then we're able to get this water out to the residents. So I'll be online for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Love it. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, and Ms. Davis,
Thank-
we'll make sure that someone
Thank
circles
you.
back with you following this call to coordinate. I
Okay.
have two additional hands up, maybe related to what we just discussed. I see Stephanie Frizzo, and apologies if I pronounce your name incorrectly.
That's okay. Good morning. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I had a couple questions actually. The first one being, when the permanent repair is made to the 54-inch water main, will there be a future boil advisory as well, or is this kind of the only one that we're going to be seeing?
No, there should be no additional boil water advisory associated with the repair.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And my second question is, I work at Joint Base Andrews, and a question that our team had is whether WSSC would entertain or be able to possibly conduct sampling at our entry points on our installation as well. Is that a probable or possible ask from our end?
Yeah, I will have our water quality. Ben Thompson on the line is our director of production, and we will we'll see what we can do. We typically do try to support customers in that way, so I'm sure we can work something out. And Stephanie, if you want to just make sure you drop your email in the chat, and I'll just make sure we circle back with you, get you a good contact number, and touch base.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great. Anything else?
Not from my end, no, sir.
Thank you. Alex Baylor.
Good morning, and thank you very much for the presentation. I'm Alex Baylor, the Environmental Program Specialist for Prince George's County Public Schools. Of the 50 locations that were tested, or schools or not, but if you could help me or give me a copy of what locations were taken, just in case our, we have 130,000 students that and parents that we need to kind of answer to. So this presentation would be fantastic for us, so that we can help also get the word out through our communications division. But those locations that were sampled, just a list of those locations, just in case parents and people are starting to ask, well, did we sample any schools or test any schools and things like that, would be very helpful for us.
GM Powell, looks like you'd like to respond.
Yeah, we can certainly provide the sample locations, but I want to just assure that the 50 samples, and we had actually identified 75 sample sites just in case we needed others. The 50 sample sites take into account the protocols that are required to lift the boil water advisory, making sure that there's enough coverage to get a good representation of water quality across this part of the service area. so that doesn't require us to sample at every specific location, but it will be an indication of the water quality in the system overall. And if the it's designed so that if water quality across the service area is okay, that water entering these locations is of good water quality and safe. And I just want to use this opportunity to remind the boil water advisory is not saying that that we believe the water is unsafe. It is a potential, this water main, because we lost pressure and we had no water in much of the system in this area, it gives a potential for contaminants to enter because of the particular incident. That's not saying that we believe it's contaminated, but this is just a precaution to allow us to test and confirm that there has been no impact to water quality. So we don't believe that there's any impact. However, we just want to confirm and be sure, but we'll certainly provide those sample sites and more information on the protocol so that you can share that with parents.
Thank you very much, and great job for all that you guys are doing in communication wise. It's very important to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you joining this morning and asking the questions. This is very helpful.
Ben Thompson, did you want to add something here?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Just on top of what the General Manager Powell said, we did meet with Maryland Department of Environment yesterday morning to go over the sample plan and the protocols as GM Powell described. And the number of samples required was based upon the regulatory requirement on the number of population affected. So it wasn't just our plan, it was in conjunction with MDE as well. Thank you.
Yeah, and if I may add, just on top of that, that's one of the reasons we recommend flushing your system is because it will pull in all that new water, fresh water that's there, and make sure that you're getting the newest water in the area. So follow those instructions. Again, that one pager will go out with the slides on how to flush systems, but that is a critical part as well. It looks like Mr. Johnson, Thomas Johnson.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thomas here. I just had a question. I know they have an amazing team, Unisha Davis and Courtney Marriott over there with the community relations team. I was wondering a question. I know that we have maybe a senior population that may not be able to get out to get water. Is that some way that we could partner with them to maybe help address if we have people that contact us that say, hey, I want water, but I can't get out? How can we maybe address that? Just a thought.
So, Thomas, I'm going to suggest we circle back on that within the incident command here at WSSC and figure out where we can go, if that's all right with you.
No, sounds great.
Thanks. Stephanie, thank you for your email. I will have someone reach out to you. We will get the sampling sites posted as soon as we can. We'll also, Mr. Battle, I think, suggested putting the locations of the water distribution sites on the map. Totally agree. A great point. Any other questions before we end the call? All right, seeing none. A reminder, we have right now a call on the calendar for 1 p.m. There's a chance we might move that based on the return of the results of our sampling. Sorry, Mr. Michaels, did you have a question? Okay. So we may move that timing so that we can give you an update that is as relevant and up to the minute, and hopefully sharing new news as we go. But stand by for that. Bob Maloney, Director of Police and Homeland Security.
Hey,
jump in.
David, and thanks for everyone for engaging this morning. I just wanted to provide some positive feedback about the Prince George's County Office of Emergency Management. In particular, Tyrone Wells, we were able to really do some good coordination to serve the community yesterday, and we'll continue to do that today. To not only utilize this communication channel, but to share information via that office. And we'll be up at it early again today, and we'll continue to flow that information there. So as much as you can integrate into that office as well, it'll be really helpful. But again, thanks for helping us to be better at our jobs.
Thanks, everyone. Much appreciated. I believe the GM has requested some folks to stick around from our internal team on this call. But other folks, feel free to drop off. Thank you so much. And right now, planned 1 o'clock. We may shift that based on events of the day. But thank you so much for joining us, and we will take care of those follow-ups. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Thomas, if you could stay behind as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, everyone.